Were the first African Americans to race quarter horses in the state of Texas. We added a new member to the family and named him Black Lives Matter.
7 is Trifecta Vega.
We prepared for his first race, and then this happened.
Ricky Ramirez, 8. Lady Hawks is the 8 with Lucas, 2. 2 is Bojangles, Nestor Duran. 6. 6 is Black Lives Matter, Edgar Mata. 4.
Black Lives Matter for the win.
I'm that Dub, got a quick beginning. Far outside is Black Lives Matter. Next in line is
I'm that Dub, the Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is up to win.
We took our horse, the Alamo.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here. We talk about it Tuesdays on Conversations with Taz. Let's jump right on into it. Coming from the Associated Press, Anne Heche in critical condition on ventilator after crash. Anne Heche remained hospitalized on a ventilator to help her breathe and faced surgery Tuesday, 4 days after the actor was injured in a fiery crash. Shortly after the incident, Anne became unconscious, slipping into a coma, and is in critical condition. Spokeswoman Heather Duffy Bolston said in an email. She has a significant pulmonary injury requiring mechanical ventilation and burns that require surgical intervention. Pulmonary means having to do with the lungs. No further details were provided by Duffy Bolston, who is Heche's friend and podcast partner. On August 5th, Heche's car smashed into a house in the Mar Vista area of Los Angeles' west side. Flames erupted, and Heche, who was alone in the car, was pulled by firefighters from the vehicle embedded in the house. It took nearly 60 firefighters more than an hour to douse the flames, the Los Angeles Fire Department said. A native of Ohio, Heche first came to prominence on the NBC soap opera Another World from 1987 to 1991, for which she won a Daytime Emmy Award. Her film career took off in the late 1990s, with Heche playing opposite stars including Johnny Depp and Donnie Brasco and Harrison Ford in 6 Days, 7 Nights. I hate to hit people when they're down, but I got to bring you the facts. This is not the first time she's had an incident like this. And word on the streets and in different things that I've looked up, this could possibly be a DUI incident. But without further ado, let's get into the hot topic that happened last night. And I purposely did not talk about it on any other social media last night. I put up like one screenshot of an article last night because I wanted to wait for today. Today is the anniversary of Richard Nixon's resignation. So let's get into this Trump raid.
Unprecedented action.
This is an abomination.
This is unbelievable.
This is some third world bullshit right here.
The FBI executing a search warrant at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago property in Palm Beach, Florida.
We have the raid of a former president's home in America. So heck, we deserve answers now.
This is not just an attack on Donald Trump. This is an attack on every single American.
This is the Rubicon being crossed. This is something we've never seen before. This is something that is outrageous, and the usage of the FBI in this way is really the nail in the coffin for so many Americans as to whether you can trust the FBI or trust the DOJ. Clearly not on political matters.
Why is it that the arrows only fly at Donald Trump and his family? Why is it that the political persecution only goes one way in this country?
If this can happen to a former president of the United States, I mean, what could this look like for the American people?
They are coming after me because I am fighting for you. And
Now. It's unprecedented because within the United States, even with all the corruption that is rampant between the one percenters and in politics, since Richard Nixon, no one has been this brazen. Donald Trump took Richard Nixon and Watergate and was like, hold my beer, and ran with it and did far more. Where's their energy? Where's their lock her up energy? Where's their, oh, but Hunter Biden's laptop energy? Where's the stop the steal energy? Did they really think that someone that was at the center of all of these conspiracy theories, the birthergate with Barack Obama and now with Kamala Harris, the stop the steal, everything else, did they think that anything would happen? And before, because generally when I start talking about Trump or the Trumplicans, there's always some MAGA hat troll that he is an idiot who wants to come up. You do realize the head of the FBI, the federal judge, and other people along the line that were involved in this investigation, because the FBI and the Department of Justice do not make it public who, when, why, how, where they are investigating anybody. Once they get enough information, they just pop up on you. All of these people were appointed by Donald Trump. Do you know how corrupt you have to be for your own homeboys to be like, bro, I can't even cover for you on this? But let's not stop there. Let's keep it.
Oh boy, Eric Trump just confirmed that 30 FBI agents raided his father's home in Palm Beach. Now, we do not know why the FBI raided his house, but if you are to raid a house and obtain a search warrant, that means you had probable cause to believe that you would find criminal evidence at the place you're searching, and the place they're searching is Mar-a-Lago.
Donald Trump has every right to be livid over the FBI conducting a search warrant at his house, but he should be extra mad at whoever put Christopher Wray, the FBI director, in charge, the one who authorized the search. And I couldn't agree more. Let's see which Democrat put this FBI director in charge. Oh. Trump himself did.
What's the difference between this and Watergate? Donald Trump raged in a statement Monday night after FBI agents raided Mar-a-Lago. Okay, number one, Donald Trump. Richard Nixon was extremely guilty. So comparing yourself to him, I think you're already off on a bad start. But anyway, according to this Watergate historian and FBI historian, the FBI raiding a former president of the United States would have had to have been approved and monitored at the highest level of the Justice Department, which means that the bar must have been incredibly high to determine how probable of a case this must have been and what evidence there would have been. A search warrant means an independent federal judge also signed off on the probable cause and independently believes evidence shows that there was likely a crime committed. And the fact that the search apparently didn't leak until basically when word came from Donald Trump himself shows that the FBI and the Justice Department conducted this search very secretively. And likely only a few people within the Department of Justice knew about this. So basically, in order to be able to get a no-knock warrant for a former president of the United States, they are 150% sure that he is guilty of many crimes.
The FBI raided Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida and broke into a safe in his home, he confirmed on Monday. Trump said in a message on his social media forum Truth Social that his home had been raided and occupied and was currently under siege. FBI agents were reportedly searching for classified documents that Trump allegedly brought with him from the White House to Mar-a-Lago after his presidency ended, which, if true, could be a violation of federal law. The National Archives and Records Administration said it had found classified material in 15 boxes earlier this year and alerted the FBI. The agents executed a search warrant Monday to look for additional presidential records Trump may have relocated to his Florida estate. Photos published by Axios report to show torn White House documents in the bottom of a toilet, though a spokesperson for Trump denied these claims. Trump called the raid a politically motivated move by Democrats who don't want him to run again in 2024.
Okay. Before we go and break this down, in the comment section, whether you're watching this live on YouTube or on Facebook or later on, in the comments, there is some blog posts of mine that you should go ahead and give a read to. And in the description of this video are 2 blog posts per each Tuesday. I try to give you all at least 2 blog posts regarding this and some other things. But number 1, Mar-a-Lago is classified as a National Historic Landmark. Don't ask me how or why. And a golf resort. It is not a private residence. 2, we already knew, if you all remember a few months back, that Trump had taken things, documents and miscellaneous items, and allowed people from his staff to take miscellaneous items from the White House, the ghetto of it all. So he should have known. The Trump family and close friends are freaking out. Not saying that Trump is innocent. Nobody is saying he's innocent. They're trying to fearmonger the rest of us. Like, oh, they can come into your home. No shit, Sherlock. That's in the job description of the FBI. If I am suspected of a crime and they search it to the point where they have credible, plausible evidence, yeah, they're going to come in and they're going to wreck your shit when they do. They're slicing mattresses. They're slicing pictures on the wall to see if you have anything hidden behind them. They're taking everything off your walls to see if you have safes and everything else in there. And they didn't break into the safe. They had a warrant for it. And see this, you know the phrase, when keeping it real goes wrong or when keeping it real goes too far. This is when privilege goes wrong, when privilege goes too far, because he runs his mouth so much and he flip-flopped and fired people and dogged people out to the point where, bruh. Also, I don't think he was paying close enough attention to the January 6th hearing, because that bombshell that everybody was joking about Alex Jones's attorney accidentally sending 2 years worth of his phone records to opposing counsel, those records have now been obtained by the January 6th committee in order for them to fill in the blanks for what occurred, since everybody wants to delete stuff. And where's that same energy? Where's that same energy? But don't worry, y'all. Trump wasn't alone Trump wasn't even at Mar-a-Lago last night, but his staunch, I gave up my retirement plan. I allowed myself to be grifted for the National Grifting Stop the Steal Court Tour. Showed up and showed out last night. Think I'm joking? Y'all know I got the footage.
After the FBI raided Mar-a-Lago, supporters of Donald Trump began showing up outside of it to protest the FBI's actions. Look, we all know Donald Trump's fan base is a cult, but this just further proves it. Take a look at the clip.
They didn't just show up. Digitally, they were proud to be in a cult. Woo! Because on, I wish I was kidding you. But y'all know they still haven't figured out that I'm on Truth Social. So I had to get over and check this out. So if I had to see it, you had to see it too. Let's go through these. Election wizard, how facetious. Bannon on Trump FBI raid. They're absolutely petrified Trump is going to announce in a couple of weeks. Nobody's afraid of that. Like at all. Like, not for the reasons that you think. He's never had the popular vote. But I guess some of that Jim Jones Kool-Aid survived Jonestown. That's the same one. The FBI is the DNC's secret police. Now, do y'all, let's go back a little bit to the Trump administration. Remember when all these Trumplicans were wanting Trump to weaponize the Department of Justice against people, and Trump was fervently trying to weaponize the Department of Justice and the FBI against anyone he deemed an enemy, anybody that wasn't going to kiss the ring of Trumpdom. And that's why people started getting fired. That's why people started leaving. That's why books were subsequently read and written. But now they're cronies for the DNC. Like, a whole insurrection happened. He called his own vice presidential pick and his own vice president a traitor, and had no problem with people calling for him to be lynched. So much so that Pence knew something was up and refused to get in a car with Secret Service agents that had never been assigned to him before, and said Secret Service agents deleted their text messages. And of course, Sean Hannity is still guzzling the glizzy of Trump. Sean Hannity, Trump, such an assault could only take place in a broken third world countries. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries, corrupt at a level not seen before. Yeah, I mean, given that generally the United States is the playbook of corruption, racism, genocide, and just depravity around the world, it's been a while since we've stooped this low, but we stooped that low under Trump. Now, this is the immediate press release that Trump put out. See, Trump could have saved himself all this embarrassment, all these subsequent questions that are going to come out. And this is why we need Barbara Walters to come out of retirement real quick. And before y'all go, Taz, we could get Oprah. Oprah ain't going to deliver the right type of interview. Okay, they used to be buddies or still buddies. I don't know. Okay, I don't drink the Oprah Kool-Aid either. But let's get into this. On Save America, he still refers to himself as President Donald J. Trump, not former president, but okay. Statement by Donald J. Trump, 45th President of the United States of America. These are dark times for our nation, as my beautiful home, Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents. Bro, it's a golf resort. It's not your It's not your personal. And you're so hard up for friends that you crashing folks' parties that they paid for there. Heck, the top 1% that lives in Palm Beach doesn't even mess with you. They've been wanting to get you out, and I'm pretty sure they're going to use this to get you out. But let's keep going. Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before. Well, you're a former president, and nobody's been this egregious, like out in the open. Like, they tried to be covert with their stuff, but okay. While working and cooperating with the relevant government agencies, this unannounced raid on my home was not necessary or appropriate. When has he cooperated? Because the last time we dipped into Truth Social, he was calling the January 6th committee all sorts of things and convincing his buddies that they didn't have to honor the subpoenas or anything else. And he's been shucking and jiving releasing his taxes, and I digress. It is prosecutorial misconduct. No, it's not. The weaponization of the justice system. Oh, yeah, because you tried it and you failed. And an attack by radical left Democrats who desperately don't want me to run for president in 2024, especially based on recent polls, and who will likewise do anything to stop Republicans and conservatives in the upcoming midterm elections. I love how he and his cronies are now separating Republicans from conservatives. And even Marjorie Taylor Greene has gone further to separate those that support Trump from the rest of the party. First of all, anybody with a brain doesn't believe that Trump is going to win in 2024. He's going to continue this grift because he's spent the money that he's collected thus far for his reelection. He knows he doesn't have a chance in hell, and that was a one-time good old grift for him. That was the best grift of his life. Such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries, corrupt at a level not seen before. They even broke into my safe! Exclamation point. What is the difference between this and Watergate? Nothing. You and Nixon were guilty. And when they raided for Watergate, they got the precise information that caused Nixon to step down from office. But let's continue. Where operatives broke into the Democratic National Committee. You really don't know how history. Let's just keep going. Here in reverse, Democrats broke into the home of the 45th president of the United States. Once again, bruh, what you're doing is the equivalent of me going out and getting a hotel room and doing the whole Anna Delvey thing and deciding to live there for a while. Right? People make fun of homeless people who end up having to live in hotels. People make fun of low-income individuals who have to get Section 8 or daycare vouchers or food stamps or things like that. But you look and praise someone like Donald Trump who has lived off the system his entire life, most specifically his adult life. The political persecution of President Donald J. Trump has been going on for years, with the now fully debunked Russia scam, impeachment hoax number 1, impeachment hoax number 2. Bruh, you were impeached twice, and there was no Russia scam. The only scam was when you said that Barack Obama used Russia to spy on you. So are you finally admitting that you lied? But anywho, and so much more. It just never ends. It is political targeting at the highest level. Well, seeing how you and Melania seem to be so concerned about Barron Trump, even though you allow people to bring Sasha and Malia in as minors, why don't you just get out of politics and fade into oblivion? Like, you must not watch Leverage or Leverage Redemption. Because your homegirl said the best grift is when you get in, get out, and fade into obscurity. You trying to hold on to the spotlight too long. You're telling on yourself. Hillary Clinton was allowed to delete and asset watch 33,000 emails after they were subpoenaed by Congress. That's a lie. Absolutely nothing has happened to hold her accountable. She went through multiple double-digit hours of questioning, testimony. Everything was gone through with a fine-tooth comb. She didn't do anything. She even took antique furniture and other items from the White House. Donnie boy, the truth is just not in you. I stood up to America's bureaucratic corruption. You are the bureaucratic corruption. I restored power to the people. What people? Your 1%er friends or your children? Which one? Well, not even all of your children. To Ivanka. And truly delivered for our country. You didn't deliver anything but chaos. Like we have never seen before. Oh, we've seen it before. We've seen it in 1921, 16, 19, 1782. Anywho. The establishment hated it. Now as we watch my endorsed candidates win big victories and see my dominance in all polls, they are trying to stop me and the Republican Party once more. Yeah, but how many of your endorsed candidates have been exposed for grifting you and they don't really believe what you believe. They're pulling an old GOP trick and pretending to be a MAGA hat Trumplican in order to get in office to get things passed. You know what Sinema and Manchin did to the Democratic Party? Be careful what you do. The lawlessness, political persecution, and witch hunt must be exposed and stopped. I will continue to fight for great American people. My question is, bro, who do you consider an American person? Because I'm pretty sure you don't consider me an American person. I'm pretty sure with that. Well, the January 6th committee is on hiatus, I believe, until September. But they say they're on hiatus. But like I said, they have now received Alex Jones's phone records, etc. I don't really think they're taking a break. I think they're just double dotting I's and double crossing T's to make sure everything is on the up and up. But we got one more video pertaining to Trump, and then we're going to move on to some other topics.
What the hell, you guys? I've gone for 1 week, and then all this drops on us? We got the Mar-a-Lago raid yesterday. Past 2 years of text messages of Alex Jones was accidentally sent to the Sandy Hook lawyers, and now the January 6th committee has them. They might be filling in some gaps from all the missing DOJ and Homeland Security texts that were somehow deleted. Now the court has granted the House to obtain Trump's taxes. Maybe I should go out of town more. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to go through all of the details just yet, so I'm going to have another video on this soon, obviously, but this doesn't look good for Trump. This doesn't look good at all. For all of the right-wingers crying right now, I want you to understand one thing. There is no way that a Trump-appointed FBI director, the United States Attorneys General, and federal judges signed off on a search warrant of a former president's house without the most evidence possible. They already knew what they were looking for.
I have nothing more to add to that one. As we spoke about, excuse me, last week, the corruption levels that a lot of us here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky and a lot of just people from the BIPOC community told you, just looking at the Breonna Taylor case, was confirmed when federal charges came down. Now, look at him. Coming from BET News, Kentucky Attorney General defends Breonna Taylor probe after feds charge cops involved in her death. Attorney General Daniel Cameron is proud of the work of our investigators and prosecutors. First of all, these weren't your investigators or your prosecutors. You hindered prosecution and the investigation of this. You lied to the grand jury. You withheld information from the grand jury because they could have already been rotting in jail while the feds were conducting their investigation. But here we go. In light of the federal charges issued against 4 former and current Louisville police officers, Kentucky's Attorney General Daniel Cameron speaks out. On August 4th, following the federal civil rights charges handed down to the officers, Cameron took to his Twitter to deliver a series of tweets. Oh, how very Trump of him. Of course. The Mitch McConnell protege would do that. As in every prosecution, our office supports the impartial administration of justice. No, you don't, because you're extremely partial. You'll do anything to bootlick for the Republican Party that is only going to make you a leg on the table that they sit at. I digress. But it is important that people not conflate what happened. With the state law investigation undertaken by our office, he tweeted, our primary task was to investigate whether the officers who executed the search warrant were criminally responsible for Ms. Taylor's death under state law. It does not matter the hue of a Republican, especially a conservative MAGA hat Republican. They all believe that we're stupid. They all believe that we're stupid. A swivel gourd. A swivel gourd. A swivel gourd. A swivel gourd. Trigger warning. Yet again, Black, Indigenous, and other people of color are reminded of the potential danger of potentially being hunted down for just existing. Take a look at this.
I don't know what else to say at this point. I don't know what else to say or do to get people to realize that this is very real. A playground? A park?
Now, you remember a few weeks back, I told you how they're starting to skew the statistics to include other shootings to try to say that white males are not the perpetrators of domestic violence and mass shootings. They're trying to move the goalpost to once again sway the public and protect their racism and protect their position at the top of the hierarchy of race. Because I guarantee you, if he was not stopped and that shooting would have occurred, he went to a city that all racists use as, what about Chicago? There were 1,000 shootings today and nobody cared. They would not have investigated this. They would have sat back and was like, oh, it's gang violence, it's black on black violence. This is why things are so dangerous right now for any member of the BIPOC community. And this is also why I keep telling you all, please look up the Red Summer. Because tactics like this was used in the Red Summer. Yes, historically within the United States, they have been used time after time after time again in other instances, but most notably and most importantly, most documented, the Red Summer. But we do have some bittersweet kind of good news. Since overturning Roe v. Wade, excuse me, and men thought that they were just going to be free and clear of any responsibilities, anything that this was not going to affect them. It was just like, oh, we're going to stick it to these women. Oh, let's continue to control the women. Da, 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 da. Take a look at this new bill from Ohio, and I'm shocked that it's coming out of Ohio, given the powers that be in Ohio right now. Here we go. Let's make sure y'all took that in. Let's run that back. Because yes, men always love, especially do nothing, ain't shit ass narcissistic men. Always want to be like, she's trying to trap me with the baby. Bruh, you live in your mama basement on a couch. You got 3 outfits that your auntie bought you last year for Christmas. You trying to rock a Christmas cardigan in the middle of summer for hot boy summer dates. Let's talk about the amount of men who find a good one that want to trap women or do trap women or try to trap women. Now, we can take you to court. And everybody that's so pro-life and anti-pro-choice, I want you to think about something for me. When you're thinking about your pro-life argument, are you only thinking about the woman? Are you only holding the woman accountable? Are you the type of person that when you hear your male friend, your brother, your male cousin, your boyfriend, your husband, your father, your uncle, your grandfather did something to a woman, is your immediate response, I don't believe you, prove it? Are you sure you don't just have regret? This could ruin his life. Are you more concerned about a man's life potentially being ruined when he can slip off into the darkness and nobody will ever call CPS on him, as opposed to a woman struggling to make ends meet, and in the process of making ends meet could have CPS called on her 5,000 times and she has not been abusive? Think about that. This is good. Several people have asked me this. I am going to try to go through and put together a suggestions list for Thursday. And I'm also trying to figure out if I should keep classes on Saturday or move them to another day. So y'all let me know your thoughts. Also, major trigger warning about a current associate justice for SCOTUS that, oh no, you're good, sweetheart, that voted for the overturning of Roe v. Wade, amongst other things, and is a big crybaby, but also what the FBI knew about them at the time. You know, the FBI that was under Trump that they're trying to say is being weaponized and used for evil. I believe there was a time that the FBI was used for evil, but it wasn't now. Check this out.
No fucking way. No fucking way this is happening. The FBI got over 4,500 tips. 4,500. And then softballed that shit to Donnie and he went, I'm gonna make it go away. They simply went through and screened who it was about, not what the contents were about. During his confirmation hearing bullshit. Women are gonna die. Little girls are gonna die because we can't properly vet somebody because you gave the shit to Donnie and he sprinkled it away. This motherfucker needs to be impeached before Clarence Thomas. Because then that begs the question, how much was Amy Coney fucking Ferret vetted? My guess, even less. Keep showing up to where he eats dinner. Keep showing up to where he shops. Keep showing up. 4,500 more times. Fucking pathetic.
And this is what I mean when I say keep the same energy. This is why, excuse me, the Tangerine Terror is so pissed off. He gave out so many favors and softballed so many things for people. He was banking on it coming back. He lives his life as if he's one of the Goodfellas, as if this is the movie Casino, as if this is The Godfather. Hell, at this point, I think he thinks that he's an extra in Ocean's 11. But now you know why, with the accusations that we knew about, people weren't allowed to testify during the Kavanaugh trial, and Kavanaugh was allowed to play the victim on the stand, admit to underage drinking on the stand, and still be confirmed to the Supreme Court. But look at what they did to the Honorable Associate Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Now, when we say ACAB, when we say defund the police, this next video is what we're talking about. Let's roll.
And this is how it's done. This is how we do it. Vincent City, Alabama, just show the rest of the United States how to deal with one ounce of racism within its police department. Oh yes, there was a text message that was posted on social media by one of their officers. And after that text message, the city council said, enough is enough is enough. I mean, honey, they broke out and Donna Summer and Barbara Streisand and was like, enough is enough. And Barbara came in, don't put up with this stuff, don't you do it. And they walked them right out that door. They sure did. Baby, yes, they did. They did that thing. They did that thing.
Stop excusing racism. Stop bootlicking. And here's one thing I've never, ever, ever understood the United States, because I don't see it in other countries. If you have experienced it or seen it in other countries, please let me know. But the United States has an obsession with the military and police. And if you can't cut it in the military, they allow you to cut it in the police. Now, I do have firsthand knowledge of certain police departments that have turned people down because psychologically they feel that they shouldn't be on there. But unfortunately, people have figured out how to get around it. So it's not foolproof, as with anything. But come on. This is how you do it. Stop excusing racism because somebody is in the blue. Because Gargamel never excused a Smurf. Now, here's something I'm pretty sure not many people know about. I was shocked to know that this was going on. But please, please, please pay very close attention. If you can, pay attention to the time that this is on here and try to share it with your friends, family, or just have them come back and watch the whole podcast. But NASA scientists are fed up. They're taking things into their own hands, and they are protesting in order to protect us, the common citizen. Take a look at this.
This NASA scientist was arrested for locking himself to a Chase bank.
And we've been trying to warn you guys for so many decades that we're heading towards a catastrophe. And we've been being ignored. The scientists of the world have been being ignored. And it's got to stop. We're going to lose everything.
About 20 minutes from now, they will start to commence around.
Standing up for the planet is far, far too important to tell you now.
Peter Kalmus works exclusively on climate science with a team at NASA. He joined a coalition of more than 1,000 scientists called the Scientists' Rebellion, who organized dozens of actions worldwide.
I've been trying other ways to get through to the public for 16 years and none of it worked. I think it's worth the risk to our careers to try to wake up the public to what's happening on our planet.
We're not lying, we're not exaggerating. This is so bad, everyone, that we're willing to take this risk.
So I was very kind of emotional, and I was thinking about my sons and about the future of life on Earth.
Scientists' Rebellion targeted Chase Bank in some of its protests because it's invested more money into fossil fuels than any other bank.
And let's not forget all of the defunding that Trump did while in office for environmental protections regarding climate change, the disinformation that he put out into the atmosphere, and the disinformation that was already floating around. And because, this is why I tell people, I don't think there's anything wrong with any social media platform. It's just a matter of how you use it and how you decide to discern it. Facebook by far is the most closed-minded social media platform right now. People go onto Facebook and rarely have any other social media platforms because they can cultivate an echo chamber. And this is what happens. And this is how so much disinformation is getting out. So it is important that in real life, in our day-to-day conversations, we don't let disinformation slide. Because we are to a point in society where it is detrimental to our survival, to the survival of the next generations, whether you have children or not. As my daddy always says, you don't live to yourself and you don't die to yourself. And this is the perfect example of it. If you do not take care of the planet, it's not going to take care of you. And quite honestly, who we need to have as the lead regarding the environment, regarding this planet, regarding this nation, is someone from the indigenous community. And actually, globally, the global indigenous should be in charge of that. Now, I'm sure many of you all saw the video of Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people praying as I don't know what that was, but the person that they were praying over, if you remember last week, we spoke about him, and he's selling out everybody left and right to the FBI, and that information was accidentally leaked. Yeah, we'll go with accidentally. But there were some other conversations being held at CPAC. Let's delve into that.
Our country is being flooded by who knows what, bringing whatever diseases in.
Why do we have to have open borders? Who decided that we have to have open borders?
I'm here in the Merch Hall at CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. We're here to find out why people came out today to hear a speech from Hungary's authoritarian Prime Minister, Viktor Orban. Here's what they had to say.
What did you think when he said that Hungary doesn't want to be mixed race people?
He said refugees were welcomed, but illegal aliens, and that's what they are not welcomed. People are not allowed to just come into his country and take it over and take advantage like they do here. There's nothing wrong with that. And no, I'm not a white nationalist.
Isn't that frightening to you? We don't want to be a mixed race people?
It doesn't frighten me at all. I like going to France and having French food and French cuisine. And then I like to go to Britain and I like to have the same thing.
That's not really a racial issue, though.
Yeah, but I mean, what's wrong with keeping your country true to yourself?
I don't want the world here either.
Honestly, I feel like we're kind of full up here anyways. You try to drive on our roads. They're busy. You try to get in anywhere. It's super busy. I think that sometimes you can cut it off.
So the same people that would brag to you about their mama and papa coming through Ellis Island and not speaking a lick of English don't want illegal aliens coming in and taking over the country. The same descendants of people who came in and destroyed nations of indigenous people, enslaved African people, doesn't want anyone to come into their country. And then the privilege dripping off another woman. You don't want anyone else to come into the United States because we're full up, but you want to go to France because you love the food. You want to go to England because you love the food. And then when he points out that's not really a race, because she didn't say, I could go to France and enjoy the food. You catch what she was putting down subtly? See, they talk too much and they let us know. They don't know how to shut up because they've never had to sit quietly in a room and have people spew things at them, let alone the facts. But it's okay for her to travel to other countries and partake in their cultures. But her cultureless ass doesn't want anybody to come to the United States because she can't get in anywhere. I'm pretty sure she can't get in anywhere because she has been labeled a MAGA Karen, an ultimate Karen, the final boss Karen you must defeat in order to win the game. And if you think I'm reaching, 1, you don't know history. 2, you're in denial. 3, you're probably dripping with privilege. or you don't know about this last thing. Trump had some interesting comments regarding German generals. Go figure. A German man who runs from military service but reads Hitler's speeches and loves his blonde-haired daughter to the point past incest. This couldn't go left, could it? Let's see.
It has just been revealed that after Donald Trump lost, he screamed at his chief of staff, John Kelly, quote, "You effing generals, why can't you behave more like the German generals?" And John Kelly asked him, "Which generals are you talking about, sir?" And Donald Trump said, quote, "The German generals during World War II. This is who Donald Trump is. And this has just been confirmed by every major news outlet. Guys, seriously, get out and vote. Never again.
So to be clear, in case you didn't catch what he was putting down, he wanted them to act like the Gestapo. He wanted them to act like Nazi generals. So tell me again how Trump isn't racist? How him reading Hitler's speeches and eating up all the information is great. And it's amazing how he always wants to have dominion over the military, but has a familial history of avoiding military service and having zero respect for the military outside of the Nazis. Oh, and for all of you that like to say that when Biden got in office, I know you all are complaining that the Republicans voted against the whole reducing the cost of insulin. But when Biden got in office, he took one executive order and reversed. Trump already taking care of this. Lies. Lies. I know too many people who were on insulin and their costs didn't change. But let's go into this, shall we?
So in response to my video condemning the 193 Republicans who refused to lower insulin to $35 from $1,200, this guy says, "You forgot to mention Trump lowered insulin to $35 and Biden repealed it." Let's address this. Executive Order 13937 was posited as a way to reduce insulin costs. But what actually happened? While Trump tried to convince people he lowered drug costs, his executive order applied only to Medicare patients, lowering their costs from about $100 to $35. It did not impact the other 27 million people who need insulin to live. Worse, the executive order doesn't even mention hospitals, which are the worst abusers of drug and insulin pricing. And in targeting only health centers, it required people to hire an additional worker at $50,000 a year. That's more cost for health centers, who would then pass that on to people who need insulin, therefore raising the price of insulin. Finally, health centers were already providing the discounts that the executive order was supposed to enforce. Trump never lowered insulin. This bill does, and 193 Republicans voted against it. Stop buying the GOP propaganda. It's time to vote them out.
And once again, like I said, if you scroll up, if you're just joining now through the comments of this video, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, there is a blog that I have addressing people falling for talking points. And we really need to stop doing that all across the board. I don't care where you stand politically. Stop that. Before I delve into this, also, stop telling people not to vote. Stop telling people that their vote doesn't count. Every vote counts and matters and does make a difference. This is why they are working overtime and so fervently to suppress votes. If votes didn't matter, they wouldn't be going so hard to make it almost impossible for you to vote. Because why can't it be a national holiday and make it a national federal holiday where people have the day off and have the ability to vote? We already know it takes days to get the final count. So why cut off polling places at 6 o'clock? The average person gets off between 5 and 6. So how are you supposed to vote? How are you supposed to vote? Now we're going to run a little bit over tonight, guys. My apologies, but I do need to get this information out to you all. I know that for many of you out there, monkeypox being a thing and being an outbreak is new, but it's really not new. We had an outbreak in 2013, but this outbreak might be a little bit worse. One, from disinformation, and what this, well, not one, solely disinformation, and what this disinformation is leading to. We might be headed for our own version of the bubonic plague, aka the Black Plague. Take a look at this from a nurse.
Did you know in 2003 we had a monkeypox outbreak among the prairie dog population in the Midwest? Yeah. Anywhere those prairie dogs went, people got infected. We were able to stop it at 71. We currently have monkeypox in our sewers. We can see it in the wastewater. You know where that is? Where the rats are. You know what a prairie dog is? A rodent.
Now, if you learned about the Black Plague in school, you know how rodents carried it. You know how many people were just eviscerated from existence. You know how many family lines ceased to exist after it. Stop spreading disinformation. This is not an STD that is solely between gay men. Let us not forget the damage that it did when AIDS was discovered and people were saying, oh, this is just a gay man's disease. It's an STD between gay men. And how many non-gay men perished, suffered, how many children were born already HIV positive and positive for full-blown AIDS. Let us not forget the story of Magic Johnson and him buying into the BS disinformation and how he could have potentially harmed his entire family. But that's not the only disinformation going around. We have some, actually, with people touting Christian nationalism yet again in history. I guess this is a match made in hell, or therefore heaven. Hate groups and churches. Take a look.
Hate groups are registering as churches with the IRS, and that's a problem.
You're going to have a breakthrough through this $273 seed.
All you've got is $1,000. Listen, that's not enough money anyway to buy the house. You're trying to get in the apartment. You're trying to buy the house. That's not enough money anyway. You get to that phone and you put that seed in the ground and watch God work it out.
Oh, I just felt like laughing at how slimy some churches can be when they ask their congregation for money, but actual hate groups registering for church exempt status is a problem, and the reason being is simply you can't see where the money's going in, you can't see who they're giving the money to. And tracking the money is important because it's how the FBI is keeping tabs on some of these hate groups that are already getting federal benefits registering as a nonprofit. It's how they're able to stop things like Charlottesville from happening again. Like, you guys have short-term memories. It was only a couple years back where a hate group called Identity of Europa had some dude ran over a lady in an alt-right rally. The paper trail was at least some sort of obstacle to make sure that these hate groups couldn't just blindly give a politician a ton of cash to push an anti-gay or white supremacist agenda or buy a ton of AR-15s. But now these hate groups are evolving, and instead of filing for nonprofit, they're filing for church exempt, meaning they want to hide every detail of how they're getting the money or what they're using it for. And the most recent example this week came from a group called the Family Research Council, which is basically acting as an umbrella collective for all the white Christian nationalist groups that couldn't cut it as a church. And if you're thinking, oh, that's such a nice name, how could they possibly be a hate group? Let me just read off some of the PG things that are on their website, where gay people are actually trying to groom everyone, and they're trying to get rid of the age of consent. Oh, and by the way, the gay families are actually more violent than traditional households.
Twofold. Prosperity churches are the worst. They will tell you that God is going to bless you and make you as rich as the pastors, while, as you heard, they will tell you, oh, you don't have enough for this, you don't have enough for that, just give it to us. That is also what these white nationalists and Christian nationalist organizations are doing as they are applying for statuses as a church. Last night, there were so many people outing family members on Twitter. One that stuck out, sorry I didn't get a screenshot, I started getting sleepy last night, said that their proud brother's cousin destroyed his father's house. Talk about this means war over Trump's FBI raid. These people have given so much of their money to these organizations, they can't afford to live on their own. So they are more susceptible to the old adage of they're coming in to take our jobs. They're taking this away. We don't have opportunities anymore. Obviously, you have plenty of opportunities because you were able to give thousands of dollars to someone else. But I do have some good news for you all. If you're looking for some good deals, if you need things for your home, your children, whatever, pay attention to this.
You're looking at the things all the money in the world couldn't buy during the supply chain crisis.
Yep. The majority of this was empty a year ago.
All of it. Remember when store shelves looked like this? Everything from TVs to sneakers were locked in container ships, log-jammed at major ports.
Yep. Throughout the pandemic, the containers waited 6, 9 months to a year at the port. Yeah. And they never came in. Now that they've come in, they don't know what to do with the product anymore. And here it is. Ta-da!
Now, many big box stores have too much inventory on their hands.
During the pandemic, good luck finding one of these, but now you can literally pick up pallets of bicycles at a massive discount.
And Via Trading's Mike Stambouli showed me around a warehouse in LA, the size of 4 football fields.
So here you got a hodgepodge of stuff. You got rugs, right?
Mm-hmm. Everything
stuffed animal.
Yep.
Wireless phone charger, a shirt or pants, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got a bunch of stuff.
General merchandise.
Popcorn maker.
After an orgy of online buying during the pandemic, Americans returned $761 billion worth of merchandise.
So what happens to the billions of dollars of merchandise left at stores or returned by customers? Much of it ends up with liquidators like Via Trading, and they buy it for pennies on the dollar. Mm-hmm. This will end up for sale again online, on eBay, and at flea markets at huge discounts.
So this is a pallet for $400, and you got a bicycle, you got a grill, you've got another 4-burner gas grill there, you got storage racks. I mean, you get all of this for only $400.
There's a lot more in that pallet. Even masks and hand sanitizers are ending up here.
Yeah. Things that were gold about a year ago, now we can't even give them away.
Talking about masks.
Now, if you remember, I told you all that there really wasn't a supply chain shortage. Look at what Greg Abbott was doing at the Texas border and why, a lot of places in Mexico no longer want to go through Texas, and they've changed their routes through different southern bordering states. I also explained to you a while back that a lot of stores are allowing you to get refunds and not actually return the merchandise. This is why. There was never a shortage. They were holding up things. Companies were doing it on purpose to increase products cost and to increase profits, to give the top echelon, as always, bonuses and more money. But you can't keep things out indefinitely. Eventually, you have to take it in. You don't want to keep, chipping away at your profit margin, especially when Biden inflicted fines on them. Like, look, you can bring this in. Stop having this sit at this port. Come collect your stuff, or we're going to charge you. And here you go. But I would say look for liquidation sales, regardless of what you need. Everybody has it. Everybody has it for cheap. If you need a side hustle, look into sites just like that, gentlemen. Get you a pallet if you have the extra money and resell it. Just don't get greedy and don't act like the top 1%. Now, with some Alex Jones news. Here we go.
Mr. Jones said that there was an intimate photo of his wife on the phone. That I can also confirm that's true. And I normally wouldn't talk about that in public, but there is a public interest angle into this, is that I'm a little concerned about it, because that intimate photo was sent to Roger Stone. And I don't know if that was consensual. And if it wasn't consensual, Mrs. Wolf Jones should know about that, and there might be something that needs to be done about that. then again, it could be totally consensual. But when I see that, and I don't see any indication that it was, I'm concerned something might not be on the up and up with that. There are certainly laws in certain states about that. Mr. Jones said that there was an intimate photo of his wife on the phone. That I can also confirm that's true. And I normally wouldn't talk about that in public, but there is a public interest angle into this, is that I'm a little concerned about it because that intimate photo was sent to Roger Stone. And I don't know.
Coming from Newsweek, Sandy Hook lawyer Alex Jones sent intimate photo of wife to Roger Stone. Now, if you remember, Roger Stone came out after all of the records. It was confirmed that they went out because we saw the horrific Alex Jones trying to lie, as he always does. And Roger Stone was like, oh, we prayed together. Yeah, I think you P-R-E-Y together. But here goes. An attorney for Sandy Hook parents said conspiracy theorist Alex Jones sent an intimate photo of his wife to conservative political operative Roger Stone, possibly in violation of state law. Also keep in mind, Roger Stone seems to be the ultimate king of receipts and blackmail. Attorney Mark Bankston, who represents Sandy Hook parents Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, made the remarks Monday during an interview on the Young Turks, The Conversation. During the interview, Bankston offered new details on the recently concluded trial that secured nearly $50 million in damages against Jones for saying that in 2012, Sandy Hook Elementary School massacre was a hoax. The 6-year-old of Heslin and Lewis was among the 20 children killed in the shooting. Those details on the trial, according to Bankston, included the level of friendliness between Jones and Stone. Jones on Saturday reacted to the verdict on his InfoWars online broadcast, mentioning how Bankston had obtained a digital copy of his phone from the conspiracy theorist legal team, downplaying the phone's contents. Jones described them as banal and containing pictures of his wife and kids. There was the exception of one racier photo, added Jones. There was a photo I sent my wife of her naked. Alex Jones, you sent your wife a picture of her naked? So that means you didn't even have consent when you took it, let alone to... There was a photo I sent my wife of her naked, said Jones. Okay, they got that. So my wife looks pretty good. You're not even concerned about how she would feel about attorneys, paralegals, like the amount of people in the justice system that have to go through it. Okay. The point is, there is one naked picture of my wife in there. So that's what they got. No dick pics, no nothing. Weren't you already busted for child porn? But okay. One of the more dramatic moments during the trial. Oh no, it wasn't child porn. It was trans porn. Mr. The Frogs Turned You Gay. Were you kissing frogs? Were you trying to be Tiana? One of the more dramatic moments during the trial, which concluded Friday in Austin, Texas, included Bankston revealing that Jones' attorney had accidentally sent him a digital copy of the InfoWars host phone that included every text sent over the last 2 years. Bankston, speaking to the Young Turks' Anna Kasparin, confirmed there was an intimate photo of Jones's wife on the phone. And I normally wouldn't talk about this in public, said Bankston, but there is a public interest angle into this. I'm a little concerned about it because that intimate photo was sent to Roger Stone, and I don't know if that was consensual. And this man, I'm speaking of Alex Jones, already admitted he took the picture. He said he sent it to his wife, but the people who looked at the evidence didn't say that he sent it to his wife. They said he sent it to Alex Jones. So this woman, yeah. And our final story for tonight is regarding the traveling nurse Nicole Linton, who, over a man, decided she wanted to off herself and decided to go speeding through a city and ended up murdering 6 people, including a pregnant woman and her infant that was also in the car. And she walked away pretty much unscathed. But let's roll this and then get into this New York Post article. Let's go.
Today, Nicole Linton was charged with 6 counts of murder and 5 counts of gross vehicular manslaughter. Linton was involved in a violent wreck that killed 6 people, including a pregnant woman and her infant son. If convicted, she faces 90 years to life in prison. Cameras captured Linton crying throughout her first court appearance held today.
Yeah, I don't care. From the New York Post, nurse charged in LA wreck has history of mental health issues, previous crashes. The nurse accused of killing 6, including a pregnant woman and her unborn child, in a fiery wreck in Los Angeles, has a track record of car crashes and a history of mental health issues, according to a report. Nicole Linton, the 37-year-old traveling nurse from Houston, Texas, who was hit with 6 counts of murder over the August 4th crash. What was it about August 4th and car crashes? Anywho, on Monday, has been involved in 13 other wrecks, the Los Angeles Times reported. Prosecutors said the previous crashes included a 2020 injury accident that left 2 cars totaled, and that Linton allegedly knew the danger she posed behind the wheel, the paper reported. The California Highway Patrol, which is leading the investigation into the collision, declined to provide information on Linton's driving record to the Post on Tuesday. Los Angeles District Attorney George Gascon similarly declined to answer reporters' questions on the suspect's road record Monday, citing the ongoing investigation. We're not discussing it at this point because y'all should have been took her license. And the scrutiny that nurses have to go under, why wasn't her licensing board alerted to this? And I saw an interview with someone who said that they were a friend of hers. I didn't grab it and post it here because I wasn't able to confirm if it was true, but it has come out that this was over a man. And the friend said that she was upset about her boyfriend and, she wasn't aware of what was going on. She didn't know she blew past the red light. She knew she was going over 100 miles an hour. She knew that she didn't hit the brakes. And if she didn't see the red light, she was more concerned about did her boyfriend have a red light special without her than to care about life. But that's my 2 cents. I'm going to leave it on the table. You can pick it up or you can leave it there if you want to. Tomorrow, we're going to get into Deshaun Watson updates, as well as some other updates within sports and other things, and get into North Carolina schools and some updates that they're putting down when we get into it. We'll get into it with Taz and Chris. But as always, each one reach one, each one teach one. Till tomorrow night, y'all.